Perfect. That's what I'll do. Welcome. My name is Sarah Bernard for those that don't know me. And I know it's cheesy, but I absolutely love when people share where they're calling from because first of all, I'm nosy, but secondly, I am like in need of some heat, ladies. I'm in need of some heat. Yes, Florida. Thank goodness. I am all the way in Eastern Canada, and although the weather has been fairly mild, it's snowy and there's lots of snow everywhere. Texas, California. Okay, that's what I'm talking about. Love it. Love that. It helps. So that's awesome. Thanks so much for being here. I so appreciate it. So what started out as a slightly smaller scale training on recruiting, on sustainable recruiting, which I love talking about, has led to this larger scale training on onboarding, which is sort of ironic. However, I don't think you can talk about one and not the other. I think they go hand in hand, which is what I'm going to talk about tonight, especially if you want to be a strong recruiter and leader, right? I will start by saying that I definitely do not have all the answers here, guys. And as my team evolves, so do my systems. So does my onboarding. I know that in a lot of ways, I know a lot of ways that don't work. And that's sort of how I started. Was I was trying to make it easier for myself. And I tried a bunch of things and they didn't work. And it was from there that I sort of focused, okay, something's got to give here. I'm really going to dive in. I'm going to try and figure out exactly what's going to work for my team. And so I want to share that with you tonight. So let's get started. Awesome. Love all that. Okay. So in order for you to really understand where I'm coming from when it comes to onboarding, an effective onboarding, I really need to tell you a story. There were two reps who started out at the same time. They were acquaintances on Facebook, and they signed up with different teams. Let's say rep 1, rep 2. Okay, rep 1 signed up. Her sponsor had a call with her, within that week had a call with her, helped her have a launch party, helped her get logged in and set up, right? Rep number 2 signed up, had a hard time, getting a hold of her sponsor, sort of felt like an inconvenience, got tired fairly quickly of reaching out and not ever hearing back. Rep number 1 was told all the things, given the steps, helped through the process, and got the ball rolling, even booked a few events right from the beginning. This is a true story. Rep number 2 was able to figure out the discount, was able to Google, how to be a rep and log in, and she eventually got a link. Wasn't a party link for about 15 months. She sent out her normal link, didn't get any party rewards. Not even kidding. Rep number 1 eventually lost interest in the business after having a very strong start. Rep number 2 slowly realized that this business was not only doable, the drive was slowly rising for her to really succeed. Now, as you can probably imagine by now, I am rep number 2, and I'm here to tell you that talking about onboarding, effective help for the reps on your team, is something I'm very passionate about. And for obvious reasons, right? Ask anyone on my team, sidelines, they know this. I talk about it quite a bit. Passionate because I feel there is a need, but also an obligation for effective onboarding, for good systems. I assume I'm talking tonight with those that have teams already. Maybe you don't, and that's okay. But regardless of if your team is 5 or 5,000, I think the message stays the same here. Okay, and as always, I may ruffle a few feathers. I apologize in advance. I'm just very blunt, and I say it like it is. It's my belief that there has to be a balance between effective onboarding and also allowing reps to figure it out on their own. And just let me clarify. I think it's so important to have systems in place that are accessible for your entire downline. I think it would be very foolish for us to just assume and to just direct our onboarding for our first 2 to 3 levels. I'm telling you right now that even with the most effective and accessible systems, there will be reps who fall through the cracks. I can't tell you how lonely it was. And I don't even want to go down there because I think that's like a whole other training. But it was lonely. It was challenging. It was very hard to work this business, to consistently work it, to be successful at it without the support, without the know-how, without the community. Okay, I didn't know anybody at the beginning. It's very much a different story now, but it It wasn't impossible, but it sucked. Guys, it really sucked. I hit Xi executive and no one acknowledged it for days. I literally didn't think it was a big deal. I was like, well, I guess I'll just keep going. Which is, not a bad thing. But however, on the flip side, we must acknowledge that sometimes no amount of systems work, no amount of resources, guides, trainings, calls, incentives. I mean, we can put everything out there, and sometimes they're just not going to work. Sometimes the reps aren't going to, that person might not work their business, right? And sometimes it's essential to have newer reps figure things out on their own. I call this the transition period. After giving them the steps, the resources, and pouring belief into them, because that's key, pouring belief into them, there is a transition time that they need to know they are capable. They need to know that they can take that step. They need to know that there's success here for them and that they can do it, and they can do it without holding your hand. And I think that's super important. This is the only way to prove that, to themselves that this is possible for them, that the success is here for them. And it makes it very difficult if you continue to hand them everything. So I'm confusing you already. I'm like, ignore your reps, but also support your reps because it sucked, right? I'm all over the board. Number one, actionable item number one, just ignore all your new reps questions. I think that's the take home. No, but here's the thing, use the resources you have all while creating and continuing to create amazing boundaries. And I'm going to talk about boundaries because you cannot be good at recruiting if you do not have good boundaries. And you cannot be good at leading if you don't have good boundaries. I am all about boundaries lately. And I think to stay sane in this business and to keep recruiting sustainably, consistently, you need good systems just as much as you need good boundaries. You cannot be accessible all the time to everyone. That is not your job. And that's not in the job description. Not answering every single question is 100% okay, especially when you've guided them to the answers already. Right? Sustainable recruiting, successful recruiting, and effective systems, it's a balance. Literally, it's a balance. And when one is out of whack, you're not going to be able to do the other one, guaranteed. Okay? It's a balance of energy, I truly believe. And if you are spending all your time, effort, and energy over here recruiting, and you don't have any systems in place, then you're not helping them, launch their business. And then if you're over here and you're helping them launch their business, you sure as heck aren't over here recruiting. Okay, so that energy is so important, but that balance is key, guys. And you can't talk about onboarding without the boundaries. And I think that's super important. And I don't think we talk about it as much as we should as leaders. I'm giving you all permission. Start creating amazing boundaries, and I'm telling you, your business will improve. I truly believe when it comes to good, consistent recruiting, you need to have no emotional attachment to their answer of whether they want to take advantage of the rep opportunity or not. I say this all the time, and I'm sure you've heard me say it, but I'm going to say it again. In order to be good at recruiting, you cannot have an emotional attachment to their answer, to the potential rep's answer about the business opportunity, about whatever. But the same goes for new people on your team. And hear me out. I am loving on all the reps. Like I think you should care. That's number one. You need to care. I think you need to pour belief in them, but at no point is their success in this business your responsibility. I'm going to repeat that because I feel it's pretty important. At no point is their success in this business your responsibility. But I sign them up, but I talk them into it, but I don't care. No, girl, no, stop it. That's heavy to carry. And it's also impossible to keep going when you think like that. To be able to step away and not be responsible, it brings us back to having effective, duplicatable, accessible systems, and not just for those first couple levels. Okay? I'm going to show you what has been really working and not working for my team, and you can take from it what you want. I think the first thing we need to discuss is who. And I think this is super important. We talk about this business being a level playing field. I hear it all the time. I hear it being bragged about. It's a level playing field for everybody. Woohoo. But sometimes I see everyone, not everyone, that's a blanket statement. I see many onboard differently. I see many, and I did it as well, onboarded those reps who really wanted to work the business. And for those who wanted to sign the discount, here you go. Peace out. Let me know if you need me. And I don't think that that's right, because like I said, we talk about this business being a level playing field, but yet we onboard differently, depending on if they show interest in the business opportunity. If they talk about the discount, we're like, well, we kind of dismiss them already, and we sort of help them, of course, but we're not gonna pour that same belief into them because you feel you have a certain amount of energy and you don't want to spend it on that rep. You don't want to spend it on that person, maybe, because you know that they're just going to really appreciate the discount, which is totally fine, right? I'm not saying you're bad people. I'm not saying we're bad people, but I am saying that you think that your energy is, not abundant and you don't want to spend it on someone who's not going to work this business. I get it. But I signed up for the discount, guys. And I know a lot of people did. A lot of top leaders did. Regardless of if the new rep only shows interest in the discount, I think that everyone needs to be shown the same ways to launch, work, and benefit from this business. I think the reps need to know what can benefit them from this business. And the only way to do that is to onboard them the same, regardless of if they want to take advantage of the discount, right? And can we just talk about this for a second? We cannot discredit those who may not know what this business is all about, because especially during incentive periods, when you're trying to get people signed up, you can't argue with me on this one. I get it. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but when we're trying to get reps to sign up and we're preaching the discount, we cannot then discredit them from not working the business, not giving them a chance when you've only brought up the discount with them. Oh, you'll love this discount. You're going to take advantage of this. It's going to be amazing. We can't discredit that they might not want to work this business. They might not know what it's about, right? They might not know how it works, how it would fit into their life. They might have hesitations, self-confidence issues. Maybe they have a lack of belief in themselves. But I don't think it should be, they just don't want to work this business. They choose not to, right? I think it's that more so that they're staying in their comfort zone. They're staying in their safe comfort zone. And they're like, yeah, I think I'll just work it. I like the discount. I think I'll stay here, right? You have to consider that a possibility, that we need to onboard equally across the board. While I'm at it, here's a couple of things that you may not agree with. I think there is so much potential for those already on our team. And I think they need to be continued to be onboarded, which means effective help for those already on our team, right? I think there's so much potential for those who are already on our teams that sometimes we often overlook. We look at the zeros in the back office and like, oh, well, they're going to cancel soon, I guess. Instead of having effective help, accessible help, instead of meeting them where they're at, helping them with their next step, whatever that step is. We just assume often that they don't want to work, right? The second thing is I think that we also discredit those who sign up for the discount. Like I said, level playing field, but we tend to just put energy into those who are interested in the business. And again, I did it too, right? But we also discredit those who sign up during incentive periods, or maybe those who, got full credits on their starter kit and they just took advantage of the bundle deal, or those who got, signed up through and got an extra gift card. Well, of course, they're only here because of the extra gift card. They don't want to work the business, or right? Or maybe the mini starter kit in Canada. They signed up with this mini starter kit. They obviously don't want to work the business because they only paid half as much, right? I think perhaps it's not all those people that don't want to work the business. Instead, it's our subconscious thoughts thinking, well, just what I said. And it's those subconscious thoughts that stop us from equally onboarding everybody, having it accessible, having it effective. And that just proves my point that it needs to be a system so that you don't have to think about this all the time, that it's just bam, it's done, bam, it's done, right? When we encourage reps as well, this is another point, but when we encourage reps to share the starter kit, I think it's kind of ironic that when they then get their starter kit, they don't know what else comes after. I see so many reps, or not so many, but I see reps share the crap out of the starter kit graphic. This is the starter kit. And then they're doing all the reviews on the starter kit and they're talking about it. And that's all they're focusing on. And then when they get the starter kit, these new reps, they're like, oh, yay, I did it. This is awesome. Super excited. Done. Right. And then there's no continuation of that. Instead, I think we need to, instead of, try and fix that, we need to go up the river and we need to fix, okay, well, let's start sharing about the business more. Let's start sharing about the benefits more. Let's start, and this does have to do with onboarding. I promise we'll get there. But the support, share about the support, the systems, the community that you have on your team, and then they're more likely to take advantage of that. 100% Brianne. Yeah. Giving more people an opportunity to join us is never bad, especially when you have a level playing field truly, and you onboard the same within a really simple, effective system. It's just, imagine how many people's lives are going to change, right? The system that is proving to be the most effective right now and accessible for me, and what's working currently, again, what's working currently didn't work, 18 months ago, is the email drip campaign. It's an email drip campaign through Visily. I run it for my entire downline. It takes no more than 2 minutes, maybe a day, maybe 5 if there's like 15 recruits in a day. But when we launched it, I made sure current reps knew what was being shared. The support, the resources, the guides being given in this drip campaign. I wanted to make sure that the reps currently on the team knew what was being sent out to their potential new reps, right? It gave those with the hesitation about not knowing enough the confidence to start recruiting and growing their teams. It was amazing feedback right from the beginning. You can use drip campaign through that. There's lots of ways to use a drip campaign. There's lots of apps for that. The feedback was amazing on the team when I launched this. It took the weight off people's shoulders to try and onboard their new reps, tagging them in all the videos. I don't know about you, but like on the team page, and people are being tagged constantly on those starter videos, and it was a lot. And then also having the same conversations with the same subjects over and over again. So everything had to be streamlined and really accessible. And it's streamlined into 8 emails. 8 emails over the first 30 days. And I'm literally going to show them to you in a minute, but 8 emails over the first 30 days. And I think the biggest takeaway is they can do that on their own. They can follow the emails on their own time. There's no stress. There's no timeline. They get the emails, they get the resources, they get the support. They can also work their business in the steps that are given in those emails. Everything is laid out for them, right? It comes to them in their email. It doesn't come on the team page where they might then have to ask a question or clarification, and they don't want to do that, right? The biggest takeaway is that it completely took the stress from these reps that weren't going to ever recruit because they never felt ready, because they never felt that they were good enough or knew enough or were here long enough. I feel like that was the biggest takeaway for me, is that reps were starting to recruit that never recruited before. Another big takeaway from this, guys, was that reps were starting. I think the biggest surprise was these people who signed up for the discount, and then all of a sudden they launched their VIP. All of a sudden they went live. And then you see them on Facebook and they're, talking about parties, and you're like, what the actual, that was not the conversation we had. However, it's because they got the same onboarding. They got those same resources, the same guides. We shared about the same benefits. And what started out was this super comfy place where they were at saying, well, I think I'll just take advantage of the discount because this is a lot, and just the joy of getting their starter kit and the emails that are just pouring belief into them. That was the biggest takeaway, was that the people that signed up for the discount suddenly started to launch, right? And I think that that was huge. And that was probably the most positive thing that came from this. I can also tell you that having a container for newer reps helped, and it continues to help. I don't know if it will continue with the team being larger, but for the size of the team that I have, a container like a new Facebook, I have a new rep Facebook group. It's a small container. Reps graduate from it, and a couple leaders and I run it, and everything is streamlined in there. There's literally numbered posts. This is step 1, step 2, videos, guides. And it's just a lot of like, all of the onboarding systems are on the Facebook group. And I think between the two of them, it literally covers everything. However, I love the new rep Facebook group because it's a place for other new reps, so that there's a Q&A there and they don't feel like, well, I'm not asking this question on the team page with 500 other people that I don't know. Instead, it's 100 people over here, it's 80 people over here or whatever, and they're all in the same place, sort of, right? So there's, I do feel like that Facebook group, although we may grow out of it, it's a great container, and any great container that has similar minded and people who are starting at the same point, I think that really helps. Yes. And then all of a sudden it's like they're confident, right, Allie? And then they're confident enough to be on the team page and asking questions and in the chats with, others. And it's a great idea, and it works really well. I'm not saying it's going to work forever, but I love it right now. Sometimes a large team can be overwhelming, right? If you have legs that have their own effective team pages, it's awesome. That's awesome. There's nothing better than that, to know that people are being taken care of and it's not on you. That's amazing. However, we have to assume that that's not always the case. And no, I don't think you need to be kept up at night about it. I don't think it all has to be on your shoulders. However, we have the means to create accessible systems for everybody in your downline. So why not? So why wouldn't we, right? And you can only put it out there. Like I said, boundaries are everything in this business, especially if you want to be successful. And I think that it is super important to realize that some people are going to fall through the cracks. Yes, but I love it when someone reaches out to me and says, well, my sponsor's not really working it anymore, but I really enjoyed getting your emails and I'd love to be included in a group chat somewhere. And you just know, like, that completely changed that person, like she might not have had that support if this email drip campaign didn't go out. I will answer the questions, but if I go there, I'll get distracted. So just give me a second. We have a system starting for the new rep group too, where we put out a video of like the first 3 steps. This is week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4, because I know a lot of people learn differently, and I love those visual. They're just YouTube links. They're literally just, here's your steps. But also we're gonna bump them, right? And then it's like every month they're getting the same sort of things. All of these reps are gonna go through that same process, and I really feel like it helps. Between the emails and the new rep group for us, they feel seen, they feel acknowledged, and they feel confident enough to take the first step. Another tool or system that we've used, and you can use it if you're trying to get maybe a senior director team to executive, or a director to senior director team. I could see this working on a smaller size scale, is to get the new reps from that leg into a chat and launch them and like support them through a chat. It's literally the same as the other 2, but it's in a more personal level where you're messaging and the leader is messaging, and it's just lots of support, lots of belief being poured, right? I know the reps who have been part of chats like this in the past on my team have completely hit the ground running and just really feel appreciated and seen. And I think that that's super important. Like I said, boundaries are super, there's something that I didn't have at the beginning, and I definitely have them now, and I need them. If you think you have boundaries, that's amazing. However, take a look and make sure you take inventory of, okay, am I completely accessible all the time? Do I walk away from my phone and you're okay with it? Like, make sure you're taking inventory, because I don't think it says in the job description where you have to be, beck and call all the time, 24/7. And I also think if you want to be successful and long-term, you need to keep your sanity. I mean, don't use me as an example, but I think sanity long-term would be helpful in this business, and boundaries are key to that. I don't work Sundays at all. Very, very rarely. And if I do, it's something I want to do. It's like, I'm going to do this team call because like I want to do it. But very rarely do I work Sundays. Saturdays, I've even not been on my computer. I might answer something from my phone, but it's very, very not working. And then Monday to Friday would be probably between 4 and 5 hours I'm on, but I'm also doing other things, right? Like prepping supper or doing other things, going places, errands, whatever it is. It doesn't have to, I'm not sitting at my desk for 4 to 5 hours, but that's what it is Monday to Friday. In the evenings, I tend to not be on, and you can ask anyone on my team. I'm literally, my phone is off after probably 7 p.m. This is past my bedtime. I think regardless, I will answer the other questions, but regardless of how you decide to set up an effective system, which is just help, by the way. When I say effective system, all I'm talking about is just help. When, regardless of how you decide to set it up, it has to work for you. My system might not work for your team. It might not work for what you want to do, what your culture is on your team, what your community is that you want to create. I think trial and error has to be a thing. I feel like as leaders, sometimes we don't think we can pivot. We decide we're going to do something. We realize, oh man, this isn't what I expected it to be, or this really sucks. And we think, oh, well, we got to stick with it now because, we launched it, we put it out there. No, if it sucks and it's not working and it's not serving you, switch, do something else, right? And especially as leaders, I think we do that. We get stuck or we feel stuck. Your onboarding system should represent and include not only the help and steps that new reps need, but also the team culture vibe you want to create in your community, keeping in mind that reps that are probably around for 18 months might start, right? It's not just for those that just signed up within the last 3 weeks. I did say recently that recruiting is just getting people to believe in themselves. At the end of the day, if you want to be good at recruiting, you just have to get people to believe in themselves. And that goes for your new reps too. As soon as they press enroll, and nothing changes. You still have to pour belief into them. If you want people to work, you need to make sure they know what the simplest, if that's a word, the simplest next step is. That's it. You're just showing them the way. And whether that's through a system, onboarding, or whether that's through a conversation, or whether that's through you showing them the way, because as a leader, that's your job. Meeting people where they're at, helping them take the next step. And whether that's finding how to put a personal order in and taking advantage of the discount, making sure you have a system for that, or maybe it's getting them launched, getting them booking events, right? As a leader, I think that that's our job. And I think we do such a great job, but we need to make it easier on ourselves. We need to make it easier on ourselves because we preach time freedom. And often on the other side of that, we are not free of time, right? If you were struggling with efficient, effective systems, my suggestion would be to talk to a few of your new reps. Ask them, have conversations with them. Say, hey, what worked for you and what didn't? Right? Maybe have a question, have a conversation with a leader, one of your higher ranked reps and say, listen, this is what I'm going to try and do. How do you feel about this? And just sort of from there, you'll be able to judge, okay, this is what's going to really work for us. But then you have to take into account, how are you going to make sure that you're respecting your boundaries by running this onboarding system? And that's why I like the drip campaign. It's literally takes no extra time. And I love that it's being sent out, that people are following it, and that there's no extra work to be had by anybody. I believe the take home is it's your responsibility to set up an, effective and accessible systems for everyone on your downline. And I understand how daunting that is, especially if you have huge, huge downlines. But I think just being able to lay all your cards on the table, put it out there. I mean, that doesn't mean they take advantage of it, but that means that you've done your part. Then you can respect your boundaries, right? You can't function as a leader if you're constantly being drained from helping new reps with every single step. And I learned this the hard way, and I think a lot of us did, right? But I do want to show you my Visly template. Like I said, it's 8 emails within the first 30 days. I will show you that after I go back and see questions. Yes, and Sarah, I think I love the website idea. And I think eventually, we will have that as well as our team gets larger. And I think that's a great idea because then it's all in one place. And it's not a Facebook group, because Facebook groups are hard to navigate sometimes. But no, I think the website's a great idea. Do you run into leaders that have their own systems and don't want the emails to go to their new reps? No, never. I'm not giving them like anything that they shouldn't have. Like, it's very like, this is how to log into your back office. This is how to set up a VIP party. This is, and of course, a lot of my downline emails are on recruiting because I love it. And that's what I talk about. Yeah. So no, I've never had that issues. And I don't think I would, because there's nothing in there that's saying, my team's the best team and, don't join other teams. No, it's very basic and very, it's just helpful, I feel. Yes, exactly. Allie is 5 or 6 levels up, I think. And her emails do go out, but it's never, we don't contra into, there's no argument. It's just, we're all doing the same thing, which is great. Okay, I do want to share my screen quickly, if I can. I'm just going to show you what this looks like. And if you don't know Visly, then it's all good. This is what Visly looks like. And this is the new rep drip campaign that I created about a year ago. So it's a welcome email. And like I said, it's nothing special in there. I do put their names in there. I did little videos on, logging into your back office. Oh no, those are links for the back office, but redeeming your gift card. I did a video on how to find your gift card. This is your upline here. Will get you connected with a team member, setting up a party link, and then just things that they should know about, right? And then just pouring belief, always end with pouring belief. This isn't rocket science, guys. This isn't something that you need to be screenshotting. Literally, you are capable of all of this. But I just feel like when it's laid out like this, the first 3 steps, this is what I was talking about, where I shared a video in the new rep group. Well, I actually shared the link here as well, just because I feel like sometimes people don't they sign up and then what? And then they're like, okay, well, what do I do next? Well, I think the first 3 steps video that I did up really kind of just helps them take that first step. Oh yeah. New rep group, making sure they're in there. Zion Marketing, although they don't accept anybody anymore, but yeah, party planning. This would be on Visly to help people on Visly. And then I did up a team Facebook party, like a mock party. But I mean, I feel like people with the templates on Visly that you can share, I don't think there's much need to do a Facebook mock party. I don't think people take advantage of it too much. Oh, this is the Visly one, sorry. But yeah, it's basically how to do Visly, right? And then telling them to drop their shoulders, because Visly is a lot. As you know, any app that posts, it's sometimes hard to get set up. This is the pay, and literally 6 days after. So those first 4 emails are literally logging in, launching your business. As we go further away from when they launched or when they signed up, it's more pouring belief. It's more like, you did this thing, I would love to help you start. Just making sure that no one feels like they are too late to the party, right? success in this business. And that's just really pouring belief into them. Half a month in, and of course I can add to it too. And then 1 month in. So like I said, nothing crazy. I think that just having this outlined and coming to them within those first, 4 days, all the important stuff. But I mean, if they really wanted to share, and there's been reps who are like, okay, I'm ready. Like, what do I do next? And of course, I know that the email that they're talking about is, well, that doesn't come till tomorrow. But the new rep group on Facebook has all of that stuff too. No, I would rather not share the code, just because I have videos in there that are like very specific to my team. And I don't, not that they're anything special. Trust me, they're not. I don't do YouTube videos very well. But if you want screenshots of like the actual timeline, Wendy, of the template, I can definitely share that. I think having a visual like that is so important, or so helpful, because it's hard when you're just like, when I was literally sitting there like, okay, now what? Now what? But you have to kind of put yourself in the shoes of someone who just signed up. You don't want to have like diarrhea of like all of this stuff and a huge blurb of like, make sure you do this and then go do this and then this and then that. And I feel like that's super overwhelming, and it almost gets people hesitant of leaving that comfort zone. Whereas this, I like the idea of it coming at them slowly, and that they can control it too. If they're not ready to open that third email, they don't have to, instead of having it all in one. Yeah, perfect. I can do that, Wendy. It's not an issue. Is there any questions specifically? I have done new rep training videos each month, which I felt was, you were getting, probably 30% of the people to the call and maybe another 20% watching the call, the replay. So you're missing out on quite a bit. And I felt like that wasn't ideal. I felt like it needed to be more accessible. Not to say that I don't think, new rep training monthly would be a bad idea. But I just love the fact that this is going out all the time to any rep that signs up at any point, and it's just all the things that they need to know.
Hey, Sarah, I do have a question. Thank you, first off, so much for doing all this. Question is, does the software that you use, Visly, does it have text capability? Because I'm running more into, and I'm like thinking about relaunching everything, but before I redo a whole new email campaign again, I'm thinking about doing text, because a lot of my team just doesn't seem to get the email. It goes bad. It went to their junk. It goes to spam. How do you navigate some of those obstacles via email? And does it have text capability?
So Visly does have text capability. I know Allie uses the text too, if you wanted to reach out to her specifically. I pay for the first level of Visly, which is $10 a month. However, you can get referrals and you can get it paid for. Like you can get your month covered. It's 500 credits a month on this level, but like as you go up in memberships, it's more credits. Unlimited campaigns for emails and Facebook is the one that I'm at. So that answers part of your question. The second question is that I don't, the way that Visly has it, it comes from me. Like it says my name, like Sarah Bernard, or I could put like Zaya with Sarah or whatever. And I haven't had anyone say it goes to their junk. Before launching this, I actually sent it out to, I would say, half my current downline. And that was what I wanted to find out. Did it go to junk mail? Like, is it in your junk box? And no, it went to their normal inbox, which I was super impressed about. And I also get Allie Holt, she uses Visly, and I get her emails and she uses it as well. And it just comes right to my inbox. Awesome. Is there any other questions, guys? No, I hope this has helped. I love the fact that there's so many ways to onboard. There's so many effective ways to onboard. And I think the key is to just implement something that's going to work for you. Just my only advice is to not start huge. Like if you don't have any systems right now, just start small. Do something that's going to make your life a little easier, and then as you continue and as your team evolves and as you, you know, learn more things as well, you're going to get better at it and your systems are going to get incredible. But just start small right now. You don't have to go and create a whole website and do all the things right away. Just start small, make it accessible, make it effective, and have fun with it. And I think that's the take home. Okay. Awesome. If you guys have any questions at any point, you can reach out. And I hope you guys have let's see what your upline already had too. Yes. Yeah. Yes. Sarah, that's such a great point. If you are on a team right now, make sure you reach out and be like, okay, what are you doing? Like, you know, we don't have to reinvent the wheel, basically. And I don't think we should. So definitely reach out if you're on a team, and see what they're doing, because you could piggyback on that and save yourself a lot of time, but also have really successful reps starting, right? Okay, awesome. Thanks so much, guys. I appreciate you being here. And it is just so much fun tonight. So awesome. I hope you guys have a great rest of your week.